tanking so hot right now. Couple of factors go into why so many teams are like, hey, just tank for 2020. Notably, who's available in the 2021 NFL Draft: Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, as well as potential Anthony Munoz 2.0, Penny Sewell from left tackle from Oregon, as well as the Rona. With COVID-19 concerns, no one's going to look at you sideways if a team basically just like underperforms due to mitigating circumstances this year, right? So, Vikings, they should tank. Big if Kirk Cousins is abducted by aliens, because quarterback's still the most important position in all of team sports. There's a major drop-off, as we've highlighted 17,000 times on here, between Kirk Cousins and everyone else. So if something did happen to Kirk, if those aliens did show up, it's like, hey, we're aliens. We're taking you, Kirk Cousins. Then the Vikings should just go balls to the wall, tank this mother out. Now, also part of this they shouldn't even start Sean Mannion. Because you already know what he is. But put Browning in, put Nate Stanley in, the rookie 7th round pick out of Iowa. See if you have something there. And if you don't, crash this thing. Now, yes, it is impossible to tank, especially in the NFL. Mainly because you can't get everyone on the same page. Now, if you come out and explicitly say, hey, we're going to lose on purpose, that will get out, and then your team will be a laughingstock forever. So basically, what you have to do, you have to make it like the movie Major League, where the owner, Rachel Phelps, she assembles this team that is so bad that they will inevitably lose, and then they'll have to move to Miami. Or then she'll get to move to Miami because attendance dipped below a certain threshold. It's really stupid, as well as baseball will never work in Miami, as we've seen here, but mainly it's impossible to tank because players have pride, as well as they want to put on good tape to make the team next year or show off to potential future teams. Coaches are always going to coach to win. So basically, it has to come all the way down from the top. You have to put the worst team possible on the field, which certainly is possible. We'll talk about how. So here are 5 reasons why the Vikings should tank this year, ... asterisk, if Kirk Cousins is abducted. So number 1, you have a young rebooting team. So you got 15 rookies. A lot of them figured to make the 53-man roster at minimum practice squad and be a big factor in the future. As well as odds are the Vikings are going to be the youngest roster in the NFL. And they did shed a lot of veterans this year. You look at Linval, look at Everson for now, you look at Xavier Rhodes, you look at Trey Waynes, etc. As well as, after this year, you could see the Vikings dump guys like Riley Reif, Kyle Rudolph potentially, as well as Shamar Stephen. So this could be a completely young rebuilding team. And yes, if Cousins goes down, they go full tank, then yes, I will say rebuild as opposed to retool or reboot. So the fact that you have this young team, why not get your young signal caller that's going to be here for 10, 15, even 20 years? And where do you get franchise quarterbacks? You get them in the draft. Next up, reason number 2, the Vikings should tank if Cousins gets abducted. Everyone has job security. Now, if Zimmer was truly on his lame duck year, and if Spielman didn't tacitly have job security, I would understand that you want to just go at least 9-7, start Sean Mannion, maybe something will get done. Maybe you'll go 8-8, and that'll be enough to save jobs. Probably not, but you never know. But the fact that Zimmer is under contract now through 2023. Spielman certainly approached this offseason like a man who's got job security. I think those 2 most important decision makers and figureheads in place, you can afford a tanking season, as well as if you are going to tank, this is the season to do it. As well as if your quarterback is abducted and just goes down, you really... you have a built-in excuse, and everyone will give you a mulligan and a free pass on the season. As well as, if you're a team that's consistently good, year in, year out, which the Vikings generally are, and they have been under Mike Zimmer, the chances that you are going to be drafting again in the top 5, pretty slim. So you do have to take advantage of those cases when it does happen. It's like the Colts in the 2011 season. Peyton Manning is out with those neck injuries. They start Curtis Painter, and who's the other guy? It wasn't Orlovsky, it was someone else. But then end up with the number 1 overall pick. When have the Colts ever been in recent memory down that far? It's very rare. So when you do get up that high in the draft or down that far in the draft, whichever way you want to look at it, you do have to take advantage. You have to take the quarterback of the future if he's there, if that makes sense for the team. And if everyone has job security, why not? Reason number 3, the Vikings should tank if Cousins is abducted by aliens. Cousins getting older. So he turns 32 in August. And oh, by the way, did you know that Matt Ryan's 35? I mean, I guess, like, you blink and then all of a sudden it's like that dude's old AF. Like, I guess he is the same age adjacent as Flacco. Well, Flacco, I think, had an extra year because he was at Pitt and then whatever. But yeah, you just blink and all of a sudden dude's 35. So Kirk Cousins is going to be turning 32 in August, means that he'll be 33 next season. So I doubt that he's going to be playing a decade more a la Tom Brady. So you do need to keep an eye on the future. And also, if you do draft a quarterback high, you could have yourself an Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes type dynamic where Cousins is the starter for a year. You know, let the young quarterback get his feet under him. Or if Cousins doesn't perform well or is abducted by aliens yet again, you already have the heir apparent in place, as well as that contract gets very edible after the 2021 season. The Vikings can move on with only $10 million dead against the cap. Also, reason number 4, Vikings should tank if Cousins gets abducted. Homegrown franchise quarterback. Like, we've been champing at the bit for so long just to have that guy, just to have our guy in-house. Now, older Vikings fans, like, they remember Tarkington, they remember Tommy Kramer, Wade Wilson to a degree. I mean, Dante was a homegrown guy. Teddy was going to be that guy before his leg decided to socially distance from his body. And it's like, that's where you get a franchise quarterback. You get it in the draft. You don't get it through retreads. You don't get it through Archie Mannings or Jim McMahons or Donovan Fat Nabs or Brett Favre, even though 2009 was a lot of fun, or Matt Castle. You just don't get it. Teams do not let franchise quarterbacks hit the market, and it still holds true for Kirk Cousins to a degree. So get in the draft. Draft your future franchise quarterback, and frankly, it's a great season for it, because if you do tank, you do end up in the top 5 or top 3 or even at 1 overall. Got Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson. Got Trey Lance, the pride of Marshall, Minnesota, coming out NDSU. Got Justin Fields from Ohio State. You have Brock Purdy from Iowa State. So there's some clamor that he could be a first-round pick. Tanner Morgan from the Gophers as well. I mean, there's a lot of options out there, right? And lastly, reason number 5 why the Vikings should tank if Kirk Cousins gets abducted by aliens. It's the easiest year to tank. It would be. Like we said at the beginning, no one would look at you weird if you had a bad season. You could just blame everything on the Rona, as well as if your quarterback went down. Obviously, you can blame it on that too. And also, I mean, there's very surreptitious ways to get around this. So when you put a player on the COVID reserve list, it doesn't have to be because they test positive. It could be because they're in proximity of someone who tested positive, and through contact tracing, you're being overly cautious. As a precaution, make sure that they don't come into the facility, yada, yada. So, I mean, if you really want a full-on tank, it'd just be like, a couple of key players that are still remaining. Be like, hey, why don't you go on the COVID reserve list? Why don't you just go home, order up some P.F. Chang's and just watch Netflix. Hang out for a while. We'll see you in 2021. All right, just put Thielen and Hunter and Kendricks and Harrison and Harris up on the shelf. It's like, yeah, we'll just let the young guys play. Let Jake Browning go out there and chuck it 50 times a game. Same thing with Nate Stanley. Throw a football over the mountains. I mean, we'll lose every single game 35-6, and the 6 not even being a touchdown. It's 2 field goals. Woohoo, great. But also, like I said, it could be worth it. It could be worth it with so many potential franchise quarterbacks up at the top of the draft. Or you want to get really nuts? Maybe Ezra Cleveland plays guard, and he does extremely well at that left guard spot. Uber athletic, and his anchor is actually way ahead of where we thought it would be. Draft Penny Sewell, left tackle of the future. Then all of a sudden, you have Penny Sewell at left tackle, you have Brian Neal at right tackle, you have Ezra Cleveland at left guard, already just dropping dimes and just doing amazing things. And then top of the second round, Tanner Morgan from the Gophers. Woo! Let's go. Skull you ma. Skull your face. All of that. So that's it. Tanking's impossible, but those are 5 reasons why the Vikings should tank if Cousins gets abducted by aliens. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comment section. But until next time, Skull, production value.